Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis C. Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
This is 107.5. Girls Cup 107.5. I should get a stand. I look at the stand.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis C. Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
So this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
All right. Hey, guess what? It's Sunday evening, and this is our Super Bowl. This is our Super Bowl right here on 107.1 FM. It's Sunday, 8 minutes after 8 o'clock, depending on where you are. We are currently on Eastern Standard Time, so it's 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. I know it's 8 minutes after 8 o'clock in Guyana. Let's say good evening to all of you, especially the teachers. Tonight, we will be focusing on the teachers. And we have two veteran, I would say, trade unionists. In fact, we have Christopher Jones, former organizer, Eastern State SEIU, and the United States labor consultant. That's what he is. He is here with us tonight, along with Dr. That's right, the holder of a PhD, Derek Allen, former Deputy General Secretary of NUPW. That's out in Barbados. And he's also a lecturer at the University of West Indies, Cave Hill campus, industrial relations, and all manner of things. So these gentlemen are here with us this evening, and they are going to be talking about the teachers' strike. We want to hear it directly from them. And Christopher Jones, he also functions, his functions included the organizing of workers to become members of unions, assisted in negotiating labor contracts, stage industrial strikes, etc., etc. He's also a vice president and senior member of the negotiating committee of the staff union, which represented the organizers and other staff members. Lots and lots of things. He has a history in Guyana as well. And what about Dr. Allen? Dr. Allen, Deputy General Secretary of the National Union for Public Workers, that's in Barbados. You know, I like to say Barbados. I love Barbados. He also served as Senator, Democratic Labor Party, of the Democratic Labor Party during the term of Prime Minister, ministership of the late David Thompson. The late David Thompson, a wonderful man. He was also a resource personnel for the Caribbean Labor Congress, headquartered out there in Barbados. Of course, Dr. Derek Allen is no stranger to Guyana. He has visited Guyana several times. I'm sure that while in Guyana, he was able to eat some pepper pot, roti, curry, dal puri, black pudding, whatever it is. But these gentlemen are with us this evening. Good evening to all two of you. Please, Dr. Allen, I know all we're seeing is kind of like 3/4 of your head. There you go, perfect. Christopher Jones, Mr. Jones. James, same to you. If we can, we don't want you to be lower than us. All of us are equals here tonight. If you can adjust your camera, Mr. James, and forgive me, Jones. Keep taking.
That's all right. I'm not in Parliament.
That's it. Good evening, gentlemen. Sorry to take you away from the Super Bowl. Let's welcome you guys. Good evening, both of you.
Good evening, Mark.
Good evening.
To you and your viewers.
Yep. Dr. Allen, good evening, sir. We're not getting your microphone, so we're not hearing you. Yep, we give Dr. Allen a quick 30 seconds or so that he can get his microphone up and running. In the meanwhile, you can share the link and let your friends know that we are on. Again, Mr. James and Allen, they're no strangers at all when it comes to union matters. And we want them to break it down. We're going to be straight up with them. We want them to break it down and let us know how this strike is out in Guyana. That's the teachers' strike. So you guys forget about the Super Bowl. Cricket is not on. You will hear that the Chiefs will be the winner of tonight's Super Bowl. That's my take. The Chiefs, they had a couple of bad turnovers. I don't know what's going on, but they're gonna bounce back out of that. Let's begin with Mr. Jones, though, since Dr. Allen is going to try to get his microphone up and running. Dr. Allen, is it up and running? Can you hear us? If your mic is not operable at this time, maybe you can sign out and get back in the studio with us. We thought you had it there for a moment. 1 second. Let's see. There you go. Can you hear us now? Oh, you can hear us, but we're not hearing you. What you can possibly do is sign off and then You can come back in. Thank you, because we can't hear you. Thank you so much. My apologies on that. You know, technology sometimes, and Dr. Allen is all the way in Barbados. Mr. James, good evening. Let's get ready to at least get, I know you've served in lots of positions around Guyana and outside of Guyana as well. But briefly, give us a little background of yourself. I know you're Guyanese. Touch a little bit on that. And
Yes, I was born on the east coast of the Marara, and I went to London to work in an alumina plant. And from there, I got involved in the trade union movement. And I became the general secretary of the Mine Workers Union. I was involved in all those struggles for wages um, and all benefits that bauxite workers got during those times. I was also assistant secretary of the Guyana Trade Union Congress when Lincoln was the organizing secretary. So I have my reason to be here tonight is because I am much concerned about what's going on in Guyana, about uh, how the government is treating the trade union movement in Guyana. I'm very much concerned about that.
you're very much concerned, and we're glad that you're on with us this evening. Mr. James, we'll get straight into some questions. But Dr. Allen, can you hear me now? Seem to be having some problems again with Dr. Allen. We're not getting his microphone at all. We don't know what's happening, but if you can probably create some sort of miracle there. Um, sounds like you have it there now. Good night. We thought you had it there for a moment. We're still not hearing you, Dr. Allen, and we really want to get this up and running. We want to hear from Dr. Allen. He has a lot to say. So we'll just give, if we can for a moment, we'll give Dr. Allen a quick minute. We want to hear what he has to say, and because we're not gonna move off. We're not going to move off with this here. We want to be able to hear Dr. Allen this evening, Deputy General Secretary of the National Union for Public Workers. He's also a lecturer at the University of West Indies, Cave Hill campus. Lots of titles these gentlemen do have put together. Lots of years on union matters, and they're well qualified to touch on this matter here. So tag a few teachers, share the link, let some teachers know that we're on. And again, we just want to apologize, technology. We'll make up with the time. This is our Super Bowl. The teacher strike is our Super Bowl. The strike continues bright and early, as we would say in Guyana, bright and early tomorrow morning. There's no giving up. Disregard some of the things that broken promises and all these different things that's coming from the regime. Suddenly, they know that teachers need to be paid attention. But last evening, from the two members, one vice president, first vice president of the Guyana Teachers Union, was on last evening, along with another member, and they all agreed that they have been trying to get the attention of those in the regime. They have been ignored since 2020, since this regime took office in 2020. They have been asking to meet, and they have been thrown to the wayside, so to speak. But let's get right into this strike. The current government in Guyana, they're saying that this strike, Mr. James, they're saying that this strike is illegal. Your take, sir.
Mark, I do not think the strike is illegal. First of all, we need to understand the main purpose of forming a trade union is so that workers can have the power to negotiate better work, better wages, and working conditions. And if you're telling me that workers are not allowed at this point in time to do that, how then the strike can be illegal? The strike is not illegal, and therefore I would want to ask the all the teachers to be there in great solidarity so that the strike can be very effective. I remember the days when I was in Linden. When we have a strike, it's a strike. And I'm also calling those brothers in the sugar belt who supported us many times, and we supported them many times because we were looking at the politics of the situation. We were looking at what is proper industrial relation practices. So I don't know who is talking about the strike is illegal, because workers form unions so as to have power to negotiate better working conditions and wages. And they have to do that through collective bargaining. And collective bargaining is very important for workers to express and exchange their views so that they can have what is best for them. I've been following the news a little bit that the Minister of Labor is saying that the workers uh, they are still discussing with the management or the Department of Education, and they have implemented 21 or 25 items that the workers wanted. That's not collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is you put your proposal, I put my proposal, and we have to agree. And after that agreement, we have to have a signature to that agreement. That is what is collective bargaining. Not you going to implement something or impose something on the workers. That's the collective bargaining. And I am very much concerned about that situation, and I would like the workers to be out there to demand that position. That it's important when you in the trade union movement, you have to stand up for the rights, because the trade union movement is not only looking after the members of the union. The trade union movement also has a responsibility to the community. So it's very, very important that the Ministry of Labor start doing its job. If this government is really concerned about the children and education, and they don't want chaos in the country, the first thing they would do is try to sit down with the agent of the teachers who have the grievances. You do not say to hell with them, let them stay there for 14 days and they have to crawl back in. It's not going to happen. If you concern as a concerned democratic organization, you would realize that it's important that you have those discussions with the representatives of the workers or the teachers. It's very, very important. And maybe the government wants to have a countrywide strike. Maybe they want to have all the workers go on strike, because that's not the right way they're going about this matter. If they really want, they need to settle this issue. And the purpose of the minister, I don't know if it has changed, but the Ministry of Labor is a department which tries to prevent um, disturbances, try to prevent industrial chaos, you might want to say. But the ministry, as I see it from afar, They are encouraging that chaos. That's what they want. They're encouraging that. Because all the minister has to do is to get both sides in, sit down, discuss where they could reach agreement. They reach agreement. If they can't reach agreement, then they go to arbitration.
Stick a pin there, please, Mr. James. Then they go to arbitration. The regime is running from that. We'll get back to that, please, Mr. James. And let's welcome all our listeners from around Guyana, Barbados, wherever they are. Dr. Allen, can you hear? Yeah, seems as though we're still having some problems with the mic. We'll make some quick adjustment to that. Yeah. Can you say something now, Mr. Allen? Yeah. Guys, we'll try to adjust that as quickly as possible. We'll remove one. Yeah, we'll remove Dr. Allen from the video, and we will try to get audio, just the audio from you, because we really want to hear what you have to say. So we'll remove you from the studio, and we'll get in touch with you via audio, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Again, let's just apologize for that technical problems. We will try to get Dr. Allen via audio and take it from there. 1 second. Yes, Dr. Allen. Again, good evening to you, sir.
How are you keeping?
Not too bad, thank you. Sorry about the little hiccups there. Would have been nice to have you on video. But what is? Let us first of all get a quick introduction. We know all of your great works that you have done over the years, and where you are currently as a lecturer at the University of Guyana. Let us get a brief background of yourself, please, and we get straight into the first question after that.
Well, I've come through the union. I have been a general secretary, deputy general secretary. I've also been a shop steward. I work at the Ministry of Labor back in the 1990s. I do part-time teaching at the university, industrial relations, collective bargaining, labor economics at the postgraduate level. And also, I'm from a family of trade unionists. So, and I also work with CCL when Lincoln was in Barbados. I've done some work written in the magazine for the Caribbean Congress of Labour as well. But I've also been a consultant in Guyana on national youth policy for the Commonwealth Youth Program. And I did attend Crew College doing a diploma in youth and development.
All right, so you're familiar with the territory there in Guyana.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, and really nice to have you on the show this evening along with Mr. James. But let me get to the first question with you, sir, concerning this teacher's strike. This is why you're here. The regime, the government of the day, they're describing this strike as politically motivated. Your take on that?
But every industrial action is really political, because politics is not about parties. Politics is about people's trying to get their interests addressed. So there is no activity when it comes to labor movements that is not political. And that's surprising, because if they said that it was partisan, well, then I would have to find out what the basis of that argument. But people have genuine needs, they have genuine concerns, there are issues that the teachers, as a matter of fact, the other workers in Guyana have other issues as well. And I think the government should be mindful that this may lead to a general strike. And they need to sit down with the teachers, have a dialogue. Once they're committed dialogue, I'm certain that the teachers will go back to school. But if they don't go back to school, I think this is going to be a long haul, and whenever then the children in Guyana are going to suffer. That is my concern. But to suggest that it's political is not understanding what the word political means. If they said it was partisan, then they'll have to bring the proof. But to make a general statement that it's political is not catching it with me. It is a non-statement.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. As we move back to Mr. James, they're branding this as politically motivated, meaning they're trying to say that it was orchestrated by elements within the opposition. And as Dr. Allen said, there's no evidence of such. This is a strike brought about by the teachers, and the teachers, the executive members, and all the teachers of the, within the strike, they've been saying just that they have serious concerns. Mr. James, is it ironic that this strike now by the teachers and the Guyana Teachers Union, the regime of the day is painting it as being political or politically motivated, but when GAHU calls a strike, they're dealt with almost expeditiously, and it's never branded as political? Your take, sir.
Well, hypocrisy there. I mean, I know the president of GAHU. He's a politician. He is a member of parliament. So if he's going to call a strike, are you going to say that? What are you going to say? I knew Komal a long time. Komal was always a straight-up trade unionist, but he had his political leanings. Komal even went to Linden. When we had problems in Linden, Komal came to Linden as a trade unionist, not as a politician. And so I don't understand why they would say that the strike is political. I remember I was reading back some time ago that when the government was in opposition, Coretta MacDonald called, they were encouraging her to go on strike against the APNU. The teachers went on strike during that time. Was that political?
And if we are for a moment, since Dr. Allen is not, there is on the screen, now that you mentioned in the strike that was called when the coalition was in office, it was 2018. And the now Minister of Education, who was in the opposition then, Shadow Minister of Education, I believe, Priya Manik Chand, said that she supported the strike, all in support of the strike. That was when they were in the opposition. There was nothing that it was political then, but now they are in office, it is suddenly political. I just wanted to point out that hypocrisy, though, Mr. James.
Yes.
But the issue, though, really, is whether they believe it is politically inclined or induced or whatever. Do the teachers have legitimate grievances? Are there grievances that the teachers need addressed? Those are the issues. And forget what they believe is the source and address the grievances. Whether it is political or not political, and the teachers have grievances, they need to sit with the teachers, get the Ministry of Labor as the conciliator and arbitrator to sit with the teachers, hear the grievances, and address them. Whether they believe it is political or not political is secondary. The children of Guyana need the teachers in the classrooms. And the government must stop pandering to public sympathy and get on the ground and meet with the unions.
Well said, Dr. Allen. You were about to make a point, Mr. James. Go ahead, sir.
No, I was saying that the trade union recognition, the Trade Union Act in Guyana, I had a copy somewhere. It says that the trade union obtains a certificate of recognition for workers comprised in a bargaining unit. In accordance with this part, the employer recognize the union and they shall have collective bargaining or negotiate with the union. Therefore, as my brother from Barbados said, if you're having grievances, the body to represent that position would be the trade union. So why do you expect that the trade union would not want to represent those workers who have problems? So I don't understand. I think from my point of view is that some people think that might is right, but the workers would have to decide what will be the best thing for them. And I expect to see that the government changes its position by tomorrow, calling the trade union movement and have discussions with them, uh, along with the Department of Education, so that people could understand that you're talking about democracy, you're talking about all the important things that you want to do, and you still want to see chaos and disturbances in the country, where people are when children have to stay at home, teachers not working, teachers on strike, the people get a living by doing certain things, by selling whatever they're doing. They cannot do that anymore because school is not in session. So there are all sorts of things happening in Guyana there. So it's important that if the minister realizes that what's going on and you don't want to pay attention to that, it's going to spin off into other things. As my brother said in Barbados, you're going to have a general strike.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
Dr. Allen, go ahead.
But that's the challenge. That is the challenge because it is not only about only the grievances. Now, what the government has done is to not recognize within the Constitution the right for unions to have peaceful demonstrations, to have their grievances heard. And then we have, to as a Caribbean person, what upsets me is that CARICOM is located in Guyana. The Council of Health and Social Development, COSOD, is located in Guyana, and a basic principle is the right for labor to express itself and to ensure that workers get a fair hearing. And what the Guyana government is doing is sending a message to the other regions, to the region, that governments do not have to sit down with unions and deliberate and hear matters. And it is a bad signal on part of the government of Guyana. And I'm very, very surprised. Guyana has a very long labor tradition. It had the oldest Congress in the region, federation in the region. And for this to be happening is really upsetting. But the truth is that we must also ensure that the other unions accept that they have a responsibility to come out and support the teachers' unions. And let the government, it is not only about the grievances of the teachers, it is the government's unwillingness to sit down and to negotiate. Even if they believe that there are forces behind the teachers, sit down, hear them, express your concerns about the motivation at a meeting. But to refuse to sit down is really to destroy the whole idea of trade union, collective bargaining, union employee relations is really upsetting. And coming from Guyana is really a sad day in the region.
Sad day in the region indeed,
Very sad in truth.
Dr. Allen and Mr. James. We will go directly to the teachers and let you guys hear some of their concerns. And this is teachers out in Region 2. As you know, teachers throughout the country, they're on strike. They continue that strike action tomorrow as well. But let us hear what this teacher has to say, member of the union. uh, talking to his fellow teachers in Region 2.
And the nurses, we are still here. Some of our nurses, unfortunately, they would have left the greener pasture. And they are enjoying their salary in the form of pound sterling. And what would have prompted them to do that? For us to have that major breakdown and to have brain drain within the medical area, the medical sector, and the health sector. It was because those nurses and doctors felt and knew that they were not remunerated properly. And like teachers, they could not have maintained their families. And so they decided to move to greener pastures. We are the stronger ones. And we are here because we know this 83,000 square mile belong to us. The other day we were shouting, not one blue side. Essequibo is Rio. It is because of our love for this country and the love for our job. That is why we are here. Because only yesterday, I recall my brother was asking and questioning and telling someone why you think we only have a few males in this profession.
Coming from the teachers there out in Region 2, they expressed their the sentiments on behalf of all teachers throughout Guyana. Indeed, they are concerned that teachers are leaving to greener pastures. They are concerned that not only teachers, but nurses and other professionals are leaving the country because the current regime refuses to increase their salaries. You've heard from that teacher there, both gentlemen. Let's get a first take from Dr. Allen.
Well, we want to starve the cow and still get milk from it, and that's the challenge of governments in the region. The challenge for not only Guyana but for the other Caribbean countries is that we keep talking about education reform, but education reform is about the subjects and the textbooks and the curriculum and so on, but it's not about the service and the hard work of the teachers, and to put them in pay scales that make them comfortable, where the rewards for their sacrifices are worthwhile. And I am not saying, I'm saying that it's also a challenge here in Barbados. Our teachers also have those sort of concerns. And unless the governments wake up, the other countries, the developed countries will benefit from the development and the qualifications and the discipline of our teachers, because our teachers can find work outside the region. So I think the government should stop and think about that particular challenge.
Mr. James, you heard the teacher. Yeah, Mr. James, you heard that sentiment expressed by the teacher saying that he's concerned that teachers are going to leave Guyana in large numbers if their salaries are not taken care of.
Well, of course that's going to happen. Or they're not going to leave. If they don't leave Guyana, they will leave the teaching profession. They will do something else. They might go into the gold field or do some other thing. Because if you go to work every day and you cannot, and it costs you more to go to work than what you receive as salaries, then it doesn't make sense that you go to work. So that's what's going to happen. You see, I don't know if the Ministry of Labor accepts the fact that collective bargaining is important, a very important part of democracy. Workers elected, the main purpose of forming a trade union organization is to have collective bargaining, to have better um, conditions and wages and things like that. Advocate for better laws, advocate for safety, and things like that. That's the purpose of a trade union organization. And if you don't have collective bargaining, you think that you, as the employer or the government, know it all. You know it all. So, therefore, you can do whatever you want to do. But collective bargaining is a process. And people are going to be satisfied to know that they go sit down with you, discuss with you, exchange views, exchange proposal, and whatever comes out of that, they'll be satisfied with that because they know they were a part of that, making that result. But if you're going to come to them and say, "Oh, take this $4,000, take this," it means that you are not, that's not collective bargaining, and you are destroying the tenets of the trade union movement. That's what you're doing. That's the foundation of the trade union movement. You can't do that. If you do that, and that's all the unions in Guyana or wherever. If you realize just lately in the United States of America, the auto workers, look what they did. They even got the president to go on the picket line. And that is how they were able to get better working conditions. So it's not political, as my brother said. Yeah, everything is political in the sense that's a political action, but it's not party politics, as they want to say. So I am, because I was accused of that when we were in Linden and we were having strikes, and we were accused of being political. Lincoln can tell you, but we were always straightforward in what we were looking for because we were supporting what our members wanted. And there's a process in doing it. You have to sit down, exchange proposals, share ideas, and have a mutually solve the problem and reach a written agreement. Not you coming out and say, "Oh, I'm giving $10,000 to this person," or "I'm going to Bartica and give some people that," or no, that's not it. That's not going to work. You're going to have more chaos in the school system. So teachers are going to leave if they don't have better working conditions or better pay. And the only way you can justify that you're not going to pay workers or teachers is because you don't care about having a proper education system. Because you can find money to make the demands of the teachers fulfilled.
We're stick up in there, Mr. James. 47 minutes after 8 o'clock. Good evening to all of you who have just joined us. We have Mr. James, a veteran trade unionist, and also Dr. Allen. He's also a veteran trade unionist. He's a lecturer at the University of West Indies. Let's head back to Dr. Allen, and thank you so much for that piece there, Mr. James. But as we head back to Dr. Allen, before we head back to some teachers in Region 6, a quick question, Dr. Allen. Not so long ago, when this regime, when they were in the opposition, in Parliament, the very guy who sits there now as the president of Guyana, said in Parliament that teachers deserve 50% pay raise. 50%, they deserve that. and they were basically lashing out at the then government, the AP and UAFC government, the coalition government, for not adhering to that, not wanting to give the teachers 50%. And that was before Guyana was receiving billions upon billions of dollars of oil wealth. Now Guyana has billions of dollars of oil wealth. This regime that was balling out 50% increase for teachers and public servants gave the teachers, and I want you to hear this, you probably already know, 6.5. There was no negotiation, there was nothing. Dash, as we would say in Guyana, dash 6.5 to the teachers and say, take the. Your take, Dr. Allen, on the hypocrisy.
No, I also had my hat in politics already. And I must tell you that I am not surprised at the way that governments in the Caribbean behave. But the truth is that we as a people are also to blame. Because all the unions in Guyana, all, not only the teachers, should be showing solidarity with the teachers union and coming out on the street and demanding, not whether it's 6% or 10%, but demand that the process of collective bargaining is engaged. It is disrespectful that you can arbitrarily go and determine that you are going to hand to the teachers, as my friend, my former general secretary Goddard was here, a piece of change, as though they are boys or girls in a yard, and you are treating them like third class or fourth class citizens. They have here a call for a negotiation process. It is the process is important. They may not get 50%, but if you negotiate with them and you can justify why only 6.5%, then they may even listen to you. But you cannot arbitrarily decide that's what they deserve. And I think it's a failing on the government. And I am very, very surprised that any political party in the Caribbean would behave that way. I am very, very surprised.
You know, sorry, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Truth is, unions, all the other unions, all of them have to come out. Because it's the teachers today, tomorrow is going to be general public service, it's going to be the people in fisheries, the people in oil, all the other people are going to be treated the same way. If you allow the government to determine what the rates for any one sector is, it will do it for all the others.
You know, Dr. Allen, let me just turn the volume up a little more so that you can repeat what you said about all the unions should do.
Yes,
Let me turn up the volume a little more, please. Go, repeat that statement again.
No, I am saying that the unions in Guyana cannot sit back and treat this is a fight for the teachers only. Because if the government can determine without sitting down and having a negotiation process with the teachers that they can assign to them a specific increase or pittance, then the other unions turn will come. If they will get to the general public servants, they will get to the police, they will get to the emergency services, and then the private sector will follow suit. Because if the government sets the train, but then the other sections of the social partnership will decide this is the new form of collective bargaining. The government has set the train. And I am very, very disappointed that any government in the region can adopt such a policy, and especially a government in Guyana that has a history of collective bargaining and strong trade union acceptance and recognition.
Dr. James, thank you so much for that. And to all of the union leaders in Guyana, hope you guys are listening. Tomorrow, the teachers' strike continues. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be wider all across the country. Teachers' strike is on. Let's head to region number 6 so that our guests can hear what some of the teachers have to say there.
Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton, shiny brand, shiny brand, shiny brand. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't take it no more. We negotiate. We can't take it no more. We are gonna negotiate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't take it no more. 5, 6, 7, 8. We are gonna negotiate. Is we right? Is we right? Is we right? Is we right? It's not enough. It's not enough. Can't walk. If not gonna walk. If not gonna walk. Hi, hi, hi.
Okay, so gentlemen, the teachers out there, another part of Guyana, they're asking for collective bargaining. They're saying to the Minister of Education, come and talk to us. Let us negotiate, which is exactly what you gentlemen have been saying.
That is exactly what it is. And that's what I'm saying, that the government doesn't understand that workers form a union, join unions because they want to have collective bargaining. They want the strength to work together to do that. And as my brother from Barbados said, this imposition of wages and salaries on workers, like, why then have a union? So all unions in Guyana got to take note of this situation, especially because if the government can do it, the sector can do it. So everybody needs to support the teachers in their struggle at this point and demand that the Department of Education sit down with the trade union and have negotiations on whatever conditions, wages, what have you.
And that's exactly what the teachers are saying. We heard them there. They're saying,
right,
let us negotiate. Dr. James?
No, you see, what really is astonishing is that there is a member of parliament who is a trade unionist. And I do not know how he can be sitting in a parliament or a cabinet and this kind of activity is happening and he's not uncomfortable. Because, I don't know how I can get that done. Because certainly, if you are a trade unionist, you have to be able to whisper into the powers that be, into the ears and say, look, we cannot do this. We are at least to sit down. I'm not saying that when you sit down, then you can then emphasize and so on. You can ask them, the workers, to understand the toughness of the economy, the challenges facing. One sector is you can't give teachers this amount, you can't give one sector this, because then the other sector is going to want. All of that you can tell them. But to refuse to sit down is really, really, to my mind, a very, very bad outcome in this region. The Caribbean really can't deal with this.
You know,
and I think we may have to appeal to COSOD, CARICOM, we may have to go to ILO and impose the sanctions of the institutions that I think the ILO that says that governments as employers have to sit down and negotiate. So we may have to take this in across the region to the Congress to the CCL and to the Caribbean Public Service Association, to the Caribbean Union Teachers. We have to call on them to join in this fight because it is not about how much the increase is. It's about the failure to sit down and discuss.
Amen.
Is that the problem?
You know,
that's the problem. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. James. The trade unionists you made reference to earlier, Dr. Allen, is on the PPP side. He's a member of parliament representing the PPP, and he's also the president of the Guyana Agriculture General Workers Union, and he is quiet on this matter. Mr. James, you wanted to say something, sir. Sorry.
No, I was just giving support to what my friend from Barbados said. It's a bad thing, The workers are not saying, let's sit down and negotiate. And the government could come with all their documents, all their information, exchange information, and come up with a position. But if you're going to come and just say take 2%, 5%, 6%, it means and then workers are seeing that other parts and uh, our other workers in other constituencies are treated far better than they are treated. And that's one of the problems also. That's one
What
of the problems. And
what
and and the government should pay attention to all those things. I don't know who is advising the government on industrial relations. It ought to be the minister of labor, but I heard him say that.
But the unions have to use the instruments available to them to call out the government. This is not an issue about the percentage of increase. This is not the issue. The issue of its failure to engage the process of bargaining, and that is a contravention of the International Labour Organization Convention. And the union leaders need to start to invoke the principles of the ILO Convention and to ensure that the government is made embarrass the government at the CARICOM level and at the ILO level. Make it embarrass them at the international level. Start to engage the region. This is not percent or 10%. This is about the failure of a lawyer to sit down in good faith and discuss the terms and conditions of their employees.
Amen.
That's a sad testimony in this region.
Dr. James, sorry, same, Dr. Allen, sad situation in the region indeed, especially in Guyana, what's happening right now. Let's say good evening to all the teachers across Guyana, wherever you are, but the strike continues tomorrow. The teachers, mind you, they're calling on the parents to join this strike. They're calling on the students to join this strike. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow with this strike supposed to be bigger than ever. Tomorrow, bigger than ever. Gentlemen, I want to take you across to something that Mr. Irfan Ali, he sits in the president seat there, Mr. Irfan Ali. I want to get to that. Listen to what he has to say. And you gentlemen with years of experience as trade unionist and even at one point political hat, but listen to Irfan Ali, please, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, my dear Guyanese brothers and sisters. This afternoon, I just wanted to spend a few moments with our population, talking about our commitment, the government of Guyana commitment in ensuring that every category of Guyanese enjoy a better life, a higher standard of living, and the way in which we are pursuing a development plan that would see prosperity come into every single home. We are committed to this task of building prosperity. But the task of building prosperity would not occur overnight. As I said before, when I meet all our teachers, when I meet our nurses, public servants, our farmers, our sugar workers, we have to work incrementally. But we are committed to working incrementally, just like we said to the pensioners. Before the end of 2025, each pensioner would have more than $200 every month. And that is outside of the additional we give at the end of the year. So, we are very committed to ensuring the life of every Guyanese improves and gets better. We are committed to ensuring that we bring prosperity, we build systems that empower people.
Let me just stop there for a moment, gentlemen, and remind our listeners that for 23 plus years there was no such concern. The teachers were being ignored, all of the classrooms. We have massive corruption in school buildings throughout the country. But let us get back to this introduction here by Mr. Ali. What's the relevancy in all of this here? Take a first shot at that, Mr. James.
I don't know what the relevance to that, because if you're talking about development and all those things, and you are even refusing to talk to the people who will be molding the, the skills and what have you to help with that development, you don't show any concern towards their concerns. I cannot understand it. I really don't understand it.
No. What I would say to that is that is where the politics is there. No, that is purely political.
Right.
He's speaking to an audience, or I would say the gallery of pensioners who he's appealing to get people to believe that he is empathetic to the needs of working class people. So he's invoking an additional $200 or he says, or a maximum. I don't know what it was about. But that is the my grandfather said a trait, because the issue is not how much money people are getting. It's about sitting down and negotiating with bona fide unions to negotiate the conditions and service of workers. I do not understand why any government or any employer will have a difficulty at sitting down with a union and saying, let's hear your proposals. We cannot agree to them. Let us negotiate. I don't know how that gets as an issue. I really don't understand it.
But again, you're saying that, of course, we see the politics into that. They're not talking about all workers. The teachers have, said many a times that they wanted to meet with the regime of the day. The regime refused to meet with them. They refused to basically settle some old-time agreements and so forth. All manner of things. The teachers have serious issues. And you're correct. We don't know what's the relevance of this. But Mr. James, you were about to add something else, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going the same thing, that I was going in that same direction, that if you're going to talk about all of that and you cannot even get your ministry to meet with the workers who have some problems now, what relevance that has with it? Because these workers, the development that you need teachers to teach children, the children to come up and to be a part of the development. Children at home right now, what they're doing, they're at home.
You see, but the thing is not only, when children are when teachers are on strike, several other issues arise. Some parents cannot leave their children at home. They got to stay home with them. They got to find care for them. Some other children got to stay home with them. The children are free to do as they like when they are home. The fridge is going to be ready. The pipes are going to be used more. All kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
Whenever the school is on break, other things happen. And it has a multiplier effect on the cost of social services, care services, and so on. In addition to that, the teachers are at home. And I am hoping that the other unions, and I keep repeating this, the other unions see this as a fight beyond the teachers' fight. It's a fight for the right to have the negotiations in collective bargaining.
Well said. Gentlemen, we'll take a 30 seconds break. We can sip some water, some whatever tea. We'll be right back, guys. Tomorrow, the teacher strike is bigger than ever. And all other union leaders, if you're listening, good evening to all of you. All other union leaders, if you're listening, good evening.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shed, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever for the union untold billions that they never told to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever indeed, gentlemen. This takes me now to another round of questions. And even as the regime is running away from collective bargaining, they do not want to negotiate. They're playing hardball. And while they're playing hardball, the nation is going to suffer. The students are going to suffer. Parents are going to suffer. Teachers are going to suffer. And by extension, the entire nation. And I hope other union leaders are watching. Gentlemen, this takes me to this here. The regime of the day, they're hitting under the belt. And again, there's no relevance to what they're saying here. They're attacking the union now, the Guyana Teachers Union. This is what they're saying, that the Guyana Teachers Union financial documents not filed in 20 years. Dr. Allen, your take on what's the relevance here?
So it wasn't an issue last year. It wasn't an issue year before. Why isn't it an issue now? It's catching our red herrings. The union is a bona fide union. It has its members, membership list, and to suggest that because it has not submitted, let's say, a report, because I am Barbados and I know some of the documents from my union are outstanding for a couple of years. That is not something new with unions. I mean, there's a registrar who should be policing those things, but that has absolutely nothing to do with the right to collective bargaining, and it's a red herring. And the government needs to stop playing softball and to get at the table and get the teachers comfortable that at least they're negotiating. And I really keep repeating it. The other unions have to join the teachers. They have to join the teachers. It is not about 6%, 10%. It is about the process of collective bargaining. And if they start with the teachers, it will get to the other unions, and the other employers in Guyana are going to take the government stance as a vehicle to ignore the trade unions when they come asking for negotiations. If the government do it, well, we can do it too. And I don't understand. The government doesn't understand the message it's sending.
Absolutely. Other union leaders, good evening to all of you if you're watching or listening. And especially good evening to all our teachers who are preparing for another strong, a bigger, and a better day tomorrow, alongside the parents and students as well. Before we get back to Mr. James, Dr. Allen, are you surprised? Because this is the same set of folks in the government talking about the strike being politicized. When they're using agencies of the government to go after the union now. You are correct, Dr. Allen. Last year, the registrar wasn't concerned about what's happening with the GTU. 10 years ago, they weren't concerned. 15 years ago, they weren't concerned. They're not concerned about GAU. They're not concerned about maybe other unions that are close to the regime. But suddenly, they are so concerned about the GTU. Are you in particular concerned about the regime of the day using the state agencies to go after these unions?
No, that is obviously a red herring, and there has to be some other reason they don't want to negotiate. I don't want to say sinister, but I'm saying this is just a red herring, and that the quickest thing a government can do, whether it's this government or another government, find an agency to transfer responsibility for its inability to do what it's supposed to do. Clearly, the union has made the case. It's asked for negotiations. It wants to sit down and discuss the conditions under which teachers work. Any responsible government, any caring government, any government that understands how difficult it is for teachers to operate in schools where indiscipline is increasing, where children are struggling to get to school, where the cost of living is high. Any government understands that we must know that teachers need to sit down and talk not only about how much money they get, to look at the quality of the school plan, to look at the way the children are behaving. All of those are negotiating tough points. So the government has to sit down. Any caring government will sit down and start using red herrings to run away from sitting down with the responsible people. What message is the government sending to the students that they cannot sit down with the teachers? Are they telling the students and the children that the teachers are not important? Is that the message they're sending? I'm really lost, honestly.
You know, Dr. James, Dr. Allen, before we get to just giving you an honorary PhD, Dr. James. But before we get back to Mr. James, the regime oftentimes say they care. There's so many schools across Guyana that are unfinished. A school in Linden, several schools in Georgetown, and outside of Georgetown. Hundreds of millions of dollars spent given to their friends and cronies to build schools that are incomplete. But that's another story, because this is the same Irfan Ali that's saying that they care, they're concerned. But let me take you guys, before I allow, sorry, Mr. James, for your response to what the regime is doing, using state agencies to go after the union. Don't, again, know what's the relevance. But take a look at what's happening in the classrooms. In that video, I'm not sure that you saw it, Dr. Allen, but in that video,
No, I'm not on video. I'm on audio.
Yeah, I realized that. I thought maybe you had some other device, but there's students in a packed classroom, and the rain is falling, and the students are doing their work under umbrellas, and some of them are standing up. This is a regime, $1 billion economy, supposedly oil wealth. And here it is that Irfan Ali is saying that they're concerned and they care, but yet the evidence is that they do not care. Concerning what they're doing now to the GTU, the Guyana Teachers Union, and monies and all manner of things. Mr. James?
I think it's a red herring, because but from my understanding, that the GTU gets some sort of a subvention from the government, and they have to submit their records, and they have submitted their records to the government and got subventions. So it's a red herring. So I don't understand why they're going in that direction, and all because the union is saying, look, we need to have collective bargaining. And what I would like to do is call upon my brothers and sisters. GMW was a founder member of
GW.
FITUG. I was an officer in FITUG. I was the vice president of FITUG. And I'm calling on FITUG to go and stand with the TUC and all the other unions in support of the GTU. It's very, very important, because they might feel that, there are things on their side at this point, but you never know what's down the road. So therefore, I'm calling on them to be supportive of the GTU, and the GTU ought not to be worried about the government is going to come and look at the books, because they have been giving their books to the government all the time. I think That, as far as I'm concerned, I would just forget about that. But there's where the workers need to understand and realize that the government is trying to destroy their representation. The government doesn't want to have strong representation so that the teachers can have proper benefits and proper working conditions. That's all I can say. Why you go like that? Because you want to use some archaic law that to get rid of the union or something like that. I don't understand. So therefore, I'm not worried about that red herring.
Certainly not worried about it.
No,
19 minutes after
it's not
9.
going to work.
Dr. Allen?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Yeah, good. Glad that you're still with us as we prepare to wrap up. Hey, the regime of the day, they're also saying they have issued a statement saying that they're no longer, and we're talking about being vindictive, but yet Mr. Ali is talking about their concern about workers, teachers. It's a political gimmick propaganda coming from Mr. Irfan Ali, because not so long ago, less than 48 hours ago, the same regime, PPP regime, in a message to the union and the teachers, they have said that the government of the day is no longer going to be collecting union dues on behalf of the Guided Teachers Union. Your take on that, Dr. Allen?
No, no, that is really backward. I mean, it is a courtesy that all governments across the region provide to unions. Um, um, and I remember as a member in UPW in 1971, the National Public Workers had approached the government to do what we call a check off, and they had refused. And by the end of the next year, the government was forced to accept it on principle. Um, but for government to decide that it's not gonna do the check-off system and so on is really another sad outcome. I really do not believe I play Guyana, bastions for trade unions in the region, that a government can be so anti-union and behave in manners like this. This is really horrendous. I hope the other unions are listening and understanding that if they start with the teachers and they have an issue, that they will do the same thing with them, and that they need to gird themselves and to join the teachers and tell the government they're not going to stand for it. And I think that they need to come out and hold shoulders with the teachers. And I think that the teachers should call on the Caribbean Union of Teachers. This is not a matter of percentage increase in salaries. This is a government failing to engage in collective bargaining. And it's a matter for the Caribbean Union of Teachers, the Caribbean Public Service Association, and the Caribbean Congress of Labor to address. Even if they have to collectively send a message to COSOD at CARICOM complaining about the behavior of the government. This is not a trivial matter. This is not a negotiation for salary increases. This is a government failing to engage a process which by convention and certainly in Guyana by law that the government is flouting. And I really don't understand why the Guyanese people are so silent about it. This is a major issue. This is a 10% increase, and the people call it a 20, and you're trying to fight down 5%. This is a government saying it is not meeting with bona fide union that they have met with in earlier years. Something is wrong, and this is not a single issue. This is a major union issue that we cannot let disappear.
Well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. A major issue that cannot be allowed to disappear, because if they get through with the Guidance Teachers Union, all other unions going to have to accept. So in order
That's
not to
the problem.
you got to take a position now. So tomorrow the strike continues. The teachers are asking parents to join them. The teachers are asking students to join them, and others should join them as well, including we need to hear from the union leaders. We need to hear from the union leaders. I'm not sure at what part this message from Mr. Ali entails, but let us hear for about a minute or so as we prepare to wrap up.
Teacher in the system now has a free opportunity that is invested on that the government is investing on their behalf, so that they can upgrade their skills, they can become trained teachers, they can earn a degree, they can become trained graduate. Outside of that, we're giving $6,000, additional allowance of $6,000 for every teacher with a postgraduate diploma. And guess what? All the training we're doing under the Gold Scholarship Program qualifies those teachers to be part of this also. The granting of a $20,000 allowance for all teachers with a master's degree, a $30,000 allowance to all teachers with a doctoral degree. And all of these allowances are not just granted in a environment in which there is no opportunity to achieve all of these degrees and added qualifications.
Again, not wanting to play much of that. The relevance again, Mr. James, and then Dr. Allen. The
Yeah,
relevance.
I don't understand the relevance of it. If all these things are happening, why you can't just sit down with the teachers now? The teachers are asking, let us have collective bargaining on conditions. So when you have collective bargaining on working conditions and wages, and all these things you said you have done, all those things can come to the fore and be a cost and show how it's related in the contract that you're gonna have. But collective bargaining is something that you have to do, and there ought to be some signed agreement to these things. Not you just going about and just giving something to somebody that you like, pick out some people from some area and give them some set of money. That's not how you do it. All what the union is asking for is to have collective bargaining. That's all the union wants. Collective bargaining. Sit down, let us discuss all these matters that we brought to you, and let us come to an agreement. That's it. And you don't have to go out and do all of that, because the union is going to go back to the members, and the members are going to be well aware of what's happening.
Dr. Allen, well said, Mr. James.
I just saying is this. I mean, this even makes it worse. Now, if I said to you, we have an environment in the teaching service that we need to talk about, and you decide that you're gonna throw some money at a few of us who may go a bachelor's degree, a doctorate degree, and all them things. What do those measures do? What are they addressing? The only issue I am not only dealing with an allowance here, allowance there. I'm talking about the relationship between what I'm earning and the responsibilities that I have to carry out, the conditions under which I am working. I want to discuss better security in the schools. I want to discuss the physical complexes in which I have to work. I want to discuss uniforms. I want to discuss training internally, not only to get a bachelor's in education. I want to learn how to deal with violence in school. I want to know some soft skills, conflict management. I want to discuss those things. That's $1,000 or $6,000 at me. And that way I asking for you to sit down, hear my concerns, and let's work together to address them. And that is really an insult the teacher is like, he believes that he can come and throw three things at them, and they're supposed to feel fussy that he train pittance at them, and they're supposed to be happy. That is disrespect.
Disrespect indeed. Mr. James, before we close off for tonight, any other thing to add on what you heard there? This fancy thing about we give them this and we give, which is different from what the issue is right now, collective bargaining.
No, that's it. Collective bargaining. That is what the workers want. And what I wish to say is this: I am really shocked because I remember in my days when I was general secretary for the Mine Workers Union, even though the government had problems, whenever there were disturbances or stoppage of work and what have you, the ministry was always involved in trying to have the matter settled. We always tried to get that done. So I am very, very shocked about what's going on, and I don't know why the government is behaving like this. Is it because that um, most of the teachers the government might feel are members of the APNU, or they support the APNU? That is why they behaving like that. But that is not good if you're talking about the president does talk about what they talk doing for teachers or what have you. But the teachers know all those things. I don't know. And the only way the teachers would know those things if you go and you sit down and have negotiations with the representatives of the teachers and have an agreement, a signed agreement, things will be better.
Sign agreement, indeed, things will be better. We see a lot of signs that this regime is on caring in every area, at every level. Any other thing before we go to our closing remarks, Dr. Allen, on that particular issue?
I just want to reiterate that I see it as a downright insult and disrespect for the process. You cannot decide that you are not talking to me, but you can throw some crumbs at me and go public and saying that you barring at me, and I am supposed to be happy, and then what happens to me as a union if you can just determine that you're going to give me something and I'm supposed to accept it? What are my members to think about me? When a government accept, it goes to and asks the IMF or one of the agencies to have a discussion about some development programs, and it says we are going to give $50 and take it or leave it. Certainly, they would not accept that kind of behavior. So why would they want to ask the unions to bring themselves to that level? I am very, very disappointed. I have never heard any other government or employer in the region behave this way. I don't even know if I ever get a private sector or employer behaving this way. Very, very, very disappointed.
Well said again, Dr. Allen. The thing is, just recently, the very guys of this regime gave themselves, all ministers got over $300,000 increase on their salaries.
Wow.
Over $300,000. But yet they're saying that the teachers should be patient. Wait, they're going to throw some crumbs at them and expect the teachers to accept it. Gentlemen, let's go to this again and hear from the teachers as we prepare for our closing remarks.
Collective bargaining, collective bargaining, collective bargaining, collective bargaining, collective bargaining, standing up, standing up, standing up. I'm not hearing you. Standing up, standing up.
Collective bargaining is we right. Correct. Collective bargaining is we right. Gentlemen, as we close off, your message. Let's start off with Mr. James. Your message to the teachers who are preparing to head out back again tomorrow in large numbers, along with parents and students and others. And I hope the union leaders are listening. But your message, Mr. James, to the teachers.
My message to the teachers is do not break the link. You're out there for a just cause. And as my brother from Barbados said, it is so important that if you do not stand up, you are for something, you're going to fall for anything. So I'm saying to the teachers, you are having the support of of the Caribbean, because I noticed that the Caribbean Union of Teachers, they are saying the same thing about you must have negotiations. I am calling on FITUG and all other trade union in Guyana to support the Guyana Teachers Union on this matter, because it's important to ensure that the trade union movement is there for the it was established for. Nathaniel Critchlow and all those other people, Ashton Chase and all those people, did not fight to get better working conditions and wages and so on, so that and respect, so that we can throw them away. All those politicians before came out of the trade union movement, and because they had some principles about them, and as the brother from Barbados said, Guyana has been the beacon of industrial relations. I remember Polydor. I was an assistant at Polydor. I remember those days. I remember one time Polydor said, do you want the $14 or you want electricity? You know, I remember that it is important that people support the teachers in whatever way they could. Whatever way, because I remember the days in Linden when we were on strike, the market vendors, teachers, public servants, they used to support the bauxite workers when we were on strike. So it's important that all the trade union leaders, I'm calling on the Guided Trade Union Congress, FITUG, and all the trade unions to make statements and support, be it if you have to go there for 5 minutes, half an hour, whatever. Go there and support the teachers in this struggle. Send letters to the minister. Send letters to your international organization about the situation in Guyana. Let them understand what is going on. And I know the teachers are going to win if those things happen. So teachers, I am in support of you. I remember the days of Basil Blair and Jean Porcico and all those wonderful people. Teachers, stand up for your right. It's a right not only for teachers, but a right for all parents, children, and everybody in Guyana.
Well said,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mark.
Well said, and it's always a pleasure to have you on. The Polidor you spoke of earlier is Joseph Polidor.
Yes.
Joseph Polidor, great trade unionist. Your closing remarks, please, Dr. Allen.
This is a battle that the teachers cannot afford to lose, because it is not their battle. It is not a battle for 10%, for $5,000, $6,000 US dollars. It's a battle to enforce a right. It's a right to negotiate terms and conditions with an employer. Collective bargaining conventions 87 and 98 that the Guyana government signed on to enforces the employer to meet with the workers to discuss their terms and conditions. There is no backing down. There is no changing the direction. What we need now is that the teachers need to talk to their children, talk to their priests, talk to the store owners when they go to buy their groceries, and give them information about what the issue is. The government is saying we're giving them piece of change, and they're still vexed. You have to say that is not the issue. The issue is about our right to sit down with them and discuss what is happening in education, the terms and conditions under which we are working. Take to that message and let the other unions know that this is not only your fight. It's a fight for the right to sit down and negotiate terms and conditions. Back in the 1950s, when this battle was waged, this government has taken us back to the 1950s, and the teachers have to stand up and get the other unions to stand with them to ensure that we don't have to go back to the 1950s. That's my closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. Thank you so much, Mr. James. I know it's a busy Sunday evening for all of you. The Super Bowl is on, but this is our Super Bowl. This is about bread and butter. This is about the livelihoods of people, and this is about the future of all Guyana. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time this evening.
You're welcome, Mark.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. And definitely, we will have these gentlemen back with us again. And so the strike is still on for tomorrow. It's going to be bigger. It ought to be bigger and better. Not only teachers, but other unions. We are hoping to hear from other union leaders. I noticed some folks are calling out for Mr. Patrick Yard. They've been calling out for Mr. Patrick Yard, who happens to be the president of the Guyana Public Service Union. Good evening to you, Mr. Patrick Yard. If he's not watching or listening, can somebody slip him a quick note to say that the teachers need some help tomorrow in numbers? The Guyana Teachers Union, they will be back out there. The Guyana Trades Union Congress with Lincoln Lewis and others. We know Mr. Norris Witter, who is the president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress. He was out there a few days ago. Lincoln and others, Lincoln Lewis and all others have been supportive, yes, but as we've heard from both gentlemen, our guests this evening, they're calling for the unions to come out. The unions to come out. What about the minibus drivers? What about taxi drivers? What about vendors? Are we going to see this thing happen tomorrow? Is it going to happen tomorrow? Forget about what Irfan said earlier about, oh, they give the teachers this, they give the teachers that. That is what any government is there to do, to provide some sort of opportunities, not only for themselves. We are seeing the opportunities only for themselves, friends and families, and all manner of things. And as the guest said, they're destroying crumbs at the teachers and thinking that that is something to be glorified, as though it's a big favor. Come on, teachers. Hold tight, hold strong. Operate in unity. We love what we're seeing. Tomorrow is definitely going to be a bigger and better day. Teachers, parents, students, and others, join the strike action tomorrow. It's about collective bargaining. The regime cannot dash whatever they want to dash at the Guyana Teachers Union and say to teachers, take the. No, sit at the table and negotiate. That is what this is all about. Collective bargaining. Do not disrespect the teachers. Do not disrespect the Guyana Teachers Union, because the GPSU may be next. Guyana Teachers, the other unions might be next, except, of course, GAU, who seemed to be a sweetheart of the regime. They have a member of parliament who is the president of Gahu, but yet whenever Gahu sneezes, Gahu gets billions upon billions of dollars with no excuses, no insults about what they got, no insults about reminding them that not so long ago, Jack Deere rushed up to Region 6 and handed out $250,000 to sugar workers. Some of them smile about it, said that, I mean, I even know what me get up, I mean, I deserve them. But they got $250,000 without any question, without any insults or whatever. Tomorrow is going to be a bigger and a better day. Hey, I don't know what's going on with the Super Bowl, but this was our Super Bowl here tonight. Bread and butter for the teacher. Why? 6.5 can't walk. Collective bargaining is what the teachers are asking for. And if the regime has any sense, if Irfan Ali has any sense, he wouldn't sit back at another so-called address to the nation about Jim Cockburn Ramgood story, about goal, and about teachers who got PhD, got a higher. That is across the world, the pay scale. And that is not a favor you're doing to teachers, Irfan Ali. At least those teachers with a PhD can account as to where they got their PhD from. And those teachers with their masters can do the same. And those with their bachelors can do the same. I'm sure most of them or all of them did not attend a university that does not exist. Thank you all for watching this evening. Let's support the strike action by the teachers tomorrow. God bless you. And I don't know what's the score of the Super Bowl, but I'm not hearing any noise. Listen to this before we go, though. God bless you all.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
Yes, my name is Jasmine Kaldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to P2P anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If cost of living double, I don't know what happened.
A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' black shaman, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold billions that they never told to earn, but without our bringing us, not a single will return. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata from Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
matrimony. Whole scene, I tuned up a new sensation, sparkling through. Glorious, not of the line. All is well, Diana's future is bright. Matrimony, be Republican free. Matrimony, big bet for you and me. Matrimony, it's really nice to see. Everybody rejoicing, celebrating matrimony. The days of war hero of kept on fighting manfully. And now we attain victory. It's time and for we get the matrimony. Matrimony, the Republican free. Matrimony, big bet for you and me. Matrimony, it's really nice to see. Everybody rejoicing, celebrating matrimony.